Commander Zexathari stared at the holographic display with what could only be described as bewilderment, though his species didn't possess eyebrows to furrow. The crystalline formations that served as his sensory organs flickered with confused patterns of light. "Run the scan again," he ordered his navigation officer, Pilot Krivash. "Sir, I've run it 17 times. The results are consistent." Krivash's tentacles danced nervously across the control interface. "There are artificial structures on Kepler 442c and life signs." The bridge fell silent except for the gentle hum of the ship's atmospheric processors. Every member of the crew knew about Kepler 442c, or as it was known in the Galactic Council's databases, the graveyard planet. For 3 millennia, the Galactic Council had used Kepler 442c as the ultimate deterrent. Criminals facing execution were given a choice: immediate vaporization or exile to the Hell World. None had ever chosen the planet. Even the most desperate pirates and murderers preferred a quick death to the prolonged agony that awaited on that cursed rock. The planet was a study in cosmic cruelty: surface temperatures that could freeze nitrogen solid in winter and boil water in summer, atmospheric storms that could strip the hull plating off a military cruiser, gravity that was 30% higher than galactic standard, radiation levels that would cook most species from the inside out within hours. And that was just the beginning. The planet's core was unstable, causing massive seismic events that could split continents. "Perhaps it's an automated probe," suggested Chief Science Officer Dalmoth, his forearms working frantically at his console. Some species might have sent unmanned equipment to study the planet's unique properties. Commander Zexathari's crystalline formations dimmed with skepticism. "Show me the energy signatures." The hologram shifted, displaying wavelengths and patterns that made the bridge crew collectively step backward. These weren't the cold, efficient signatures of machines. They were warm, organic, chaotic, the unmistakable fingerprint of biological life conducting complex activities. "Send a message on all standard frequencies," Zexathari commanded. "If there are survivors down there, we need to extract them immediately." The response came back in a language none of them had ever heard, a crude, harsh tongue that seemed to delight in consonant clusters that would choke most species. But the translation matrix worked its magic, and soon the bridge speakers crackled with an impossible message. "Unknown vessel, this is Colony Administrator Sarah Chen of New Perth Settlement. You're approaching human territorial space. Please state your intentions." Human. The word sent ripples of shock through the crew. They had heard whispers of this species, the newcomers who had only recently achieved interstellar flight and been grudgingly admitted to the outer rim of galactic civilization. They were considered a curiosity at best, a minor nuisance at worst. "This is Commander Zexathari of the Galactic Council vessel Harmony's Edge. We're conducting a rescue operation. Are you in distress?" A sound came through the speakers that the translation matrix labeled as laughter, a noise that most species reserve for territorial disputes or mating rituals. "Distress? Commander, we're doing just fine down here. Though if you're planning to visit, you might want to bring warm clothes. Winter's coming and it's going to drop to -40 tonight. -40, the temperature at which most civilized species' blood would crystallize." "Impossible," Dalmoth whispered. "No carbon-based life can survive those conditions without massive technological support." As if hearing him, the human voice continued, "Oh, and fair warning, we're expecting a magnitude 7 earthquake sometime this week. The geological surveys show a major fault line is about to shift. Nothing we can't handle, but thought you should know in case you feel any shaking." Commander Zexathari made a decision that would be debated in xenobiology circles for decades to come. "Request permission to land a shuttle. We need to see this for ourselves." 3 hours later, he stood on the surface of Kepler 442c, watching the impossible unfold before him. Humans moved about their daily business as if they weren't living on a planet that could kill them in a dozen different ways before lunch. Children, actual offspring, played in areas where the radiation should have sterilized them generations ago. The human administrator, Chen, approached wearing what appeared to be simple woven fabric clothing. No environmental suit, no radiation shielding, no artificial atmosphere generator. "Welcome to New Perth," she said, extending her hand in the human gesture of greeting. "Population 847,000 and growing. We've got mining operations, 3 universities, and the best coffee this side of Alpha Centauri." "How?" was all Zexathari could manage. Chen smiled. another uniquely human expression that other species found unsettling. Commander, you have to understand something about humans. We're not from a garden world like most species. Earth tried to kill us for millions of years. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, predators, diseases, famines, you name it. We survived it. She gestured to the settlement around them, where humans had built their homes directly into the cliff faces to shelter from the winds, where children sledded down slopes of frozen methane, where farmers had somehow coaxed crops from soil that should have been sterile. This planet reminds us of home, Chen continued. Sure, it's a bit chilly and the ground shakes now and then, but we've lived through worse. My great-grandfather survived the Siberian winter of 2157. My grandmother grew up in the Australian desert before the terraforming. This? She spread her arms wide, encompassing the harsh landscape. This is Tuesday. Commander Zexathari returned to his ship with a report that the Galactic Council initially dismissed as hallucination. But as more human colonies spread across worlds deemed uninhabitable, as human miners extracted resources from asteroid belts that vaporized other species' equipment, as human explorers casually strolled across planets where the atmosphere was literally acid, the galaxy began to take notice. The species that had once been considered minor had claimed dominion over the spaces between the stars that no one else wanted, and thrived there. In council chambers, a new saying emerged. If you want to colonize paradise, call the Veltarians. If you want to colonize hell, call the humans. If you want to know the difference, ask a human. They'll just shrug and say it depends on the season.